Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This is the Reds Report, depending on when you're watching it. Obviously, in the land of YouTube, it could be Saturday, it could be Monday, it could be Thursday. But that is also the land of the coronavirus. You could be in your underpants, you could be in the bath. Who knows where you are while you're watching this wonderful show. Pete, welcome back. Where have you been?
Hello. Where have I been, Chris? At home, obviously. Where else would I have been? I've been at home, being unemployed, doing nothing.
Have you been surviving?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I do very little. I've got Disney Plus now, you know, not to show off, but money's coming in. That's £6 a month. Yeah, I'm all right. We're just getting by. My missus' business is doing well, so I'm just running errands for. I'm essentially a secretary now because I've got nothing to do. So I'm just making her tea, bringing her teas up, doing like runs to the post office for her business, and that's it. That's all I'm doing, really. It's great.
That's quite the promotion from an average comedian, isn't it, really?
Well, you know, I don't want to talk about awards, Chris, but, you know, Best New York Comedian of the Year speaks for itself.
Yeah, good point. I thought it might be up in the background behind you. I thought you'd have that trophy up there, to be fair.
I have actually got, there's a very, very twatty picture that Neil Richardson made for us, but I'm not going to get that down because it's very show-offy. Even Mrs.
Neil Richardson, an artist. He's not Barnsley's best artist, obviously. Joking aside.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Rivals.
Ben Mosley back on the show, second time. You just love it, didn't you?
Oh, it's great. Thanks for having me back on. Yeah, it's brilliant.
I've noticed you haven't got better internet since last time.
No, just as bad. You can tell it's the house. You know, look at the beams on it. You know, the internet's, they haven't made it down here yet.
It's a gorgeous looking house, though.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Like, we're quite fortunate. It's we're renting it at the moment because my girlfriend's got a job down here, so we're renting just to see what the area's like. But it's really nice round in Kent. Quite like it here. People are friendly enough.
Love a baby.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, we've got a puppy. You know, she's keeping us active. She keeps running away, you know. So I about 5 times and twice this week already. So yeah.
Is the puppy called Tina, as in Tina Tyke, or?
No, she's actually called Boba. Like my girlfriend's from Hong Kong, so she's named her after bubble tea. It's a out. You know, it's made out of potato, I think. Yeah, I've tried it once. It's quite nice bubble tea, actually.
Yeah, it's all right.
I disagree. Oh, do you want like? Oh, I like juice. Do you want phlegm in it as well? Lovely stuff. Not for me. That's all.
Also on the show, we'll get to him eventually. Local historian David Wood. David, first time on the Reds Report. Nice to see you. Looking well.
Yeah. It's about time I made my debut, isn't it, for you guys?
No, it is. Well, we've been trying to get you on for a while, mate, but you're the busiest man in Barnsley, so.
Well, not really. Well, I'm not now. Actually, this is my first day of furlough, so I'm joining Pete of the great watchers of box sets. So that's my job now.
What have you been watching, David? All interesting.
Absolutely nothing. No, I haven't even put my telly on today. But I tell you what I have done today. All I do is football stuff, really. And I've been doing a bit of research on our First World War team. So I've eliminated a footballer who I didn't know. I found out who he is today. So I have moved forward.
Oh, that sounds productive. Much more productive than me and Pete, no doubt. Ben, have you been working on something this morning? Been doing a bit of art?
Yeah, well, I've got a few commissions that I need to finish. I'm doing some stuff to help charity. So I've got a couple of paintings to do that are going to help raise money, probably for the NHS and other charities that need it. So I've got that next week. So yeah, still going on.
So last time we were on, Ben, we obviously discussed you and your relationship with Barnsley. Obviously, we've got David on today. So David, I'm just intrigued where all this, your love of history and the love of Barnsley began. So we go back to when you first fell in love with town, really.
Well, the first game I ever went to in 1970, which sounds an awful long time ago. You know, I'm not really that old, but it is 1970. You know, you go, oh, hang on a minute. You know, that's nearer the cup final than where we are now, isn't it? Really, you know. So you think, oh, hang on a minute. So and I've always been interested in numbers, and I've always been interested in Barnsley, anything to do with Barnsley, regardless of what it is: cricket, tiddlywinks, rugby. If it's got Barnsley on it, you're a Barnsley fan, and you follow it, do anything. And the collecting of numbers, I don't know really where it came from, but I used to collect football programs until they got too big. But the stats is another thing, because all of a sudden, like the stuff I've been doing today about the First World War, I've never done it before. So you like doing it for the first time, and you're finding stuff out that, you know, some of the names that, like, particularly one that I sorted out the other week was this goalkeeper who appeared from nowhere, you know, and he's just sort of playing for us, and nothing's mentioned in the papers about him. It just says Holt played well, you know. I thought, all right, what's all that? And then I realised that his surname was Hoffman, and he played before, but he changed it because it was Germanic.
Right.
So he was calling himself Holt now, and that was basically it. Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, what kind of research is done by yourself, and what is the extent of that? I'm assuming there's newspapers, books, obviously the use of the internet and stuff now. Is it just made up of everything? Oh
yeah. Well, basically we've played about 6,000 games, and I've tried to get a report for every game and prove what's happened. Yeah.
Wow, pretty cool stuff. There's been a lot of history mentioned recently. Obviously, it's nigh on a year since we got promoted to the Championship. Quite a big points total. I just wondered where does that kind of sit in terms of other points total? Well, yeah, it's our record for second level, but obviously it is 3 points for a win, which is a little bit. It changes it a little bit on that point, but yeah, that was the 26th, wasn't it? Was that Tuesday? Can't remember now. Yeah, we didn't kick the ball, did we?
No, yeah.
Quite into at home having a curry that night. Nice. Watching all the scores come in.
I was watching the game, actually, the Portsmouth game. Right. Managed to get it, and cheering Peterborough on, and it was a real rocky road, but it was really strange winning promotion on your own, not surrounded by your mates or anything like that, and just what do I do now? You know, cat's not. Kind of, after the Lord Mayor's parade, wasn't it, against Bristol Rovers, really, at the end? That didn't matter. But then again, we went into that game, potentially we could have won the title if Luton had Yeah. You know, so that's the first time I've ever gone to a Barnsley game thinking we could actually win the title today. You know, and you know, it wasn't sort of out of the ordinary. It is possible that Luton could lose at home and we could win at Bristol Rovers. Yeah. Also, not so long back, maybe 2 weeks back, you'll know better than me. Anniversary of 1912. The FA Cup. That was April the 24th, and that was the 108th anniversary. But it's quite difficult to sort of put it into the fact that was the main competition probably in the world, and we nearly won it in 1910, and we won it in 1912. You know, so how could a little club in the middle of nowhere in Yorkshire get there twice in 3 years?
I mean, we weren't big enough on any stage at that point, were we? Sorry,
no,
Ben.
No, never.
We weren't that little then. In 1910, 12, we weren't that small, were we? We were a football club comparable with others.
I suppose not. No. And
there for anyone, I suppose, at that time. Really, it was on talent alone. I would have thought.
Yeah, well, because we were at the forefront of football, England, that is. You know, we ended up with 2 players that we sold who were sold for world record fees, and we were the first club in the world to sell 2 players for world record fees. They're only £2,000, and I think it was 4,500, something like that. But they were the record at the time.
Have you ever told Chris about the Arsenal story, mate? Have you ever mentioned that to them about Arsenal pipping us to promotion?
Well,
yeah, come on, Dave. Let's have that one.
Well, it's not as bad as I was always brought up. I was always brought up that Arsenal were the great Satan. That they were you wouldn't have anything to do with Arsenal. You wouldn't wear an Arsenal shirt if you were a Barnsley fan. You wouldn't touch an Arsenal shirt because they cheated us in 1919. But obviously, when I started reading into it, it's only half the story. It's true that Arsenal won promotion by a vote, which might even happen this year. We might have a vote to see who goes in the Premier League. You really don't know. It would be just as mad to do that kind of thing. But the thing was, the big problem that kept us out of the First Division in 1919 was Manchester United and Liverpool cheated. Right. They threw a game. They actually arranged a game at Old Trafford that Man United would win 2-0. Man United were in threat of relegation, and they did lose it 2-0. Liverpool threw it, and that meant that Chelsea were going to get relegated. And of course, when it all came out, Chelsea said, well, both clubs should be relegated, cheaters. You can't fix matches. And obviously, so something was said to stop Chelsea getting relegated. And then Arsenal said, well, if you relegated Manchester United and Liverpool and the bottom 2 teams in the division, then the top 6 would go up. And Arsenal were 6th. So that was their thing behind it. Of course, we were 3rd, so we're well in it, aren't we? We're easily up. But it just so happened that the chairman of the Football League was also the Liverpool chairman.
Right.
So, yeah, exactly. So it was a done deal. That he said, well, no, we'll deal with the players who've cheated, and some of them got life bans. But obviously, it was going into the First World War, so the life ban didn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
Because nobody knew when football was going to ever come back anyway.
Yeah.
And they weren't earning much. So it was, Man United and Liverpool are the ones who really cheated us out of promotion. And yes, it went to, and Arsenal were voted in, probably by Man United and Liverpool spreading their weight around to other clubs to say, vote Arsenal in. Chelsea don't vote, and everybody's happy.
That is madness, isn't it? Pete, thoughts on that? It's not changed much, has it really? We're still little old Barnsley.
No, it doesn't change though, does it? Like, the top look after themselves, and like, even when you're looking at stuff now, all the media now, no one cares about anyone else apart from Liverpool. Whenever you're talking about voiding the league and everything, the only thing they would talk about is Liverpool. What about Liverpool's title? And there's so much more issues that need solved. Loads of relegation next season, but we'll see what we go with.
Dave, I'm assuming you've racked your brains numerous times to come up with some logical way of finishing this season. If it's not to be played behind closed doors, or if it's to be played in December, or
I don't know. This might be very controversial, but it's not been good for us this season. So I think we deserve to go down regardless. We have not been good enough this season, and after 37 games, the table doesn't lie. You say, oh well, we could win all those 9 games. There's 27 points to play for. There isn't really. We ain't going to win 9.
I have to disagree with you, Dave. There's 9 games to go, mate. 9 games. How do you know?
So you disagree, Ben? You believe that we should be playing 9 games?
I believe we've got enough time to get out of it, and we've won 7 games out of 19 that Struve's been there. There's no reason we can't get out. You know, we're only 7 points out, aren't we?
Yeah.
2 wins and a draw, isn't it? So I don't know. I think 9 games is a significant enough time to get out of it, but obviously what Dave said is fair enough in terms of up to now we're bottom of the league, so the table doesn't hide. Still got time to get out.
Yeah, I'm assuming, Dave, the only time that this situation's arrived before was for the war. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. In 1939, they were only 3 games into the season, so it was quite easy just to forget that. And in the First World War, they actually played the first year of the war, and it was very controversial because people said, footballers, they should be out there in France fighting, shouldn't they?
Right.
You know, and their argument was, no, we're giving the people something to think about other than the war. You know, which, you know, that every guy who was out there in the trenches, he wanted to know how his team was doing it back home.
Yeah.
But when it got to 1915, they knew that it wasn't going to be over by Christmas, because that was the big thing about the war, is that it was going to be over so quick. You know, because when they come up against the British fighting force, they won't stand a chance, you know, and it will happen. It'll be over by Christmas, you know. So everybody rushed over there, and then you ended up with a stalemate, which was 4 years in the making, wasn't it? It wasn't. It just went on and on. So yeah, you're quite right. The only time equivalent to this is 1939, and September the 3rd was when war was declared. So very early.
Yeah, it's not a large proportion, is it? Season,
no.
3 games.
3 games.
I'm assuming they didn't play as many games then, did they, per season?
Oh no, it was a 42 game season.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But still, to null and void it, no issue really. 3 games in.
No.
We've played probably 4/5, 5/6 of this season.
Yeah.
I just don't see how there's a solution without somebody being upset, really.
Well, somebody is going to be upset, but like I was saying, I don't think we should be upset whichever way. I think it's quite fortunate if we don't go down. You know, we're £6 million better off. But if we do go down, I don't think we've got anything to say other than, yeah, all right. You know, we will have a better time in League One if we keep the same players together. You know, we're a cracking season. We'll come back in this division with everybody 12 months older than where we are now.
I mean, I enjoy League One myself, Ben. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it's enjoyable when things are going well, but obviously there's been seasons when we've been in League One in the past but things haven't gone so well. And then when we start struggling at League One level, it's not so enjoyable. Like last year, I mean, people got to realise the achievement that we actually made by getting out of the league straight away.
Yeah,
it's not a given that any team can get promotion. So to actually go down and bounce back up showed quite a lot of character and strength in the team, and everyone connected with the club. So I personally don't want to see us back in League One, because I think it's a tough league to get out of, and then it brings up all other questions about who's going to stay, how we keep players. So myself, if we can find a way to stay up in the Championship, I think that's what we've got to do. Whether we deserve it or not, I think we've played some of the best attacking football that I've seen level.
I agree.
And, you know, and it wasn't just, we actually gave them a footballing lesson that day. There's elements, flashes of brilliance. And I just think we need to be more consistent. And, you know, the 9 games, 27 points to play for. That's a lot of points, you know. So I don't know. I think if we can stay up, then we take it, don't we? You know.
Yeah. You know what my next question is going to be, Dave? We bounced back straight away then last season. Is that as often as we think? Does that happen often for Barnsley?
No, it isn't. No, it was quite unique. I spotted something really, really quickly on in the way that Gautier had signed the contracts, that we didn't ship a load of players out as soon as we were relegated, whereas we had done on all the other ones. Well, in my living memory, anyway. You know, so the 2000s one, maybe a little bit different in the 30s, but we kept basically the same side, you know, and it was, we were doing all right, but those lads they needed experience, and they still do now. They still need yeah, that they need to sort of be a little bit back, and that enables it. It wasn't a competition in the park last season, but it was. You could see it was something was going to be different. It was a bit of a risk, I think, because there were still some wage earners there, for League One football. And maybe we couldn't have sustained that for another season. I'm really not sure, but it was quite unique. The other times that when we went down in the 30s, we bounced back nearly straight away. But that's because it was the same mentality of that you didn't ship players out. You kept the same side, basically.
Yeah. Pete, Dave's mentioned, obviously, keeping the core of the squad together is obviously key to us coming back up.
Yeah.
Do you think that these long-term contracts, therefore, are going to pay dividends, Pete?
Well, definitely. Look, if we go down, I personally think if we had Struber and Solbauer for the entire season, we don't go down. I think they're both that important to the side. If we go down, 2 players leave, and then the others, I'll be honest, I don't think we know they're good, but who apart from Woodrow and Mowat will other clubs be going, we'll sign him, he's having a good season, because everyone else is having a bad season. Jacob Brown, maybe his stats look good. I'm not sure if he's ready to make that step up to a better championship team.
I know for Brown, weren't they, in January? I mean, again, it's just a case of keeping key players, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Mowat and Woodrow are gone if we go down. That's just fact. And then the rest of it, it's a case of can you keep them together? But it's like when we went down last time. Pinnock wasn't good enough at championship level. Then he came back to League One, had a season in League One. Now he is at championship level. So I think overall it might be actually better for the players in the long term because I think they're all quite young. Jordan Williams, if he had another season, Williams, Adore, they'd both do really well with a League One season. McGeehan, we know he's at that level. The point is, I just think we know he's not at championship level. I think Chaplin and Brown will do really well in that division. It's just a case of filling the holes that Mowat and Woodrow leave. Schmidt would probably score goals in League One.
Ben, do you think that they've developed enough over the past 5 months to be good enough now?
Yeah, definitely. Well, Jacob Brown's already done it last season in League One anyway. And Chaplin's obviously come on a lot in the last sort of 5 months or so, hasn't he? But I think if you lose Woodrow and Mowat, that's 2 pretty big holes to fill. And I don't know. I think this side's good enough for the championship anyway. I think this side, if it went down that we've got now, would win the league. I really think we would. But I think we're good enough for the championship now. And had we not been so naive in the defence at certain times, we could be challenging the upper end of the championship. That's what I think going forward. Yeah. We're as good as anyone, but we just need to work on work on the defence a bit and make sure that we tighten up. And if we can do that, then we'll challenge in the championship, I think. So talk of League One, I think we're too good for League One now anyway. Yeah. So we just got to get out of the situation we're in. Either they'll void the season, hopefully, or we'll play the games and stay up.
Yeah. I don't think they'll relegate people if they void the season.
No. I don't think they can.
I think they might promote people and give people titles and say you won the league, but I don't think you can relegate people and just say that's the end of the season because there's too much money involved.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Without a doubt, that's one of the reasons, isn't it? It's all about money, and that's why nothing's being cancelled at the moment because there are contracts in place which, if the Football League cancelled, they break the contract. If somebody says, "Oh no, you can't possibly do that," that's a different matter. But at the moment, that's why that's the only reason.
What an absolute shambles and a bit of a mess we're in though a minute there. I mean, obviously it's not really that important in the terms of what's going on in society anyway.
No.
But what a mess. How does a club even prepare or plan for stuff like this in terms of, we've got Mowat, we're watching another year for Mowat, haven't we?
Mm.
How do you even plan? We don't even know what league we're going to be in. So there's no forward planning, is there? Because, I mean, by now, realistically, had everything been normal, we would probably know what division we're going to be in next season now. So you're starting to make plans, wouldn't you, financially and in terms of the squad and what it might look like each year. It's absolute murky water, isn't it? And we're all wanting answers, but we can't get any, can we?
No. But funny enough, I can tie this to just before the First World War, and it's why we sold George Utley. Now, George Utley was one of our best defenders, and he was the only guy ever to play for Barnsley and be capped for England at the same time.
Right.
So he's our sort of unique one that way. And you think, well, why would we sell him to Sheffield United? And the reason why we sold him was war was coming. Nobody had any idea how long it was going to last. Maybe it lasted Christmas or not. He was on some decent money, and Sheffield United offered a world record fee for him. So they were weighing it up as to, well, if we let him go, why? But there was also the thing of nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. Nobody knows if football will carry on. And here are the Blades who are going to give us £2,000 for this guy. So plus we had Frank Barson in the back, I don't know if you guys ever know anything about Frank Barson. There should be a film made about that guy's life. He's unbelievable, the stories that go on about Frank Barson. And he was the understudy to Utley. So letting Utley go for a world fee, it brought Barson.
Brilliant. Good story. Dave, you've got some good stories. I reckon we can have worth a podcast just yourself.
Poor Ben.
You don't have to bring your chubby mate with his hat on next time, It's a nice hat, Ben. I know you're getting a bit of grief before we start recording off Dave. He's meant to be a friend, isn't he?
David, yeah. Dave's a good mate of mine, yeah. He was quite instrumental in getting me involved with the club the second time. I'd done stuff, obviously, with them in 2007 and 8, but I think Dave pushed quite hard to get me involved in the Heritage Project. And he's been quite a big supporter of my work, and I owe him quite a lot in terms of the sort of effort he put in to try and let them know behind the scenes that I was worth bringing in. So Dave and I have been. How long have we been mates for now, Dave? About 4 or 5 years, is it? 4 or 5 years.
Something like that. I remember stalking you ages and ages ago.
Did you stalk? You were stalking me.
I was stalking you. I'll admit it fully. I found out about you. I researched you. I looked at your work, and I thought, just give this guy a paintbrush and let him loose at Oakwell. I imagined things would be bigger, Ben, to be honest. But sort of like the size of the East Stand, I thought, just let him loose at them, all those breeze blocks, and do a massive sort of image of, I don't know, Rimo or something like that, But I think it's quite fantastic and unique in football, the work of art that we've got in the Pontiac, and we probably don't appreciate exactly what it is. That it's, if that was anywhere in the world, it would be a tourist attraction, and just because it's in the back of our, I've only seen it once because I live in the East Stand, so. But I think we should appreciate the guys while they're here, really.
You sit in Pontiac, don't you, Pete? You've seen that piece of art quite a lot.
I've never said. I don't sit at the Pontiac. Do you know where I sit?
Oh, you're East Stand.
I sit near you.
I purposely moved my ticket when Ben finished that piece of work just so I could go and see it.
Wow. No, I've stuck where I am, thank you. I'll stick with what I know.
I agree with you, David. I think it's an absolute fabulous piece of work. I mean, we're very lucky to have it. I'm assuming you helped put the timeline together, or is that something you did, Ben?
No, well, Dave helped me quite a lot, particularly with the earlier stuff. With the 1912 stuff, I kind of knew the basics about, but obviously Dave was always there. I needed to phone him and have a chat about the next stage. We kind of probably looked at the first 60 to 70, 80 years of Barnsley together, and then when it got into the 90s, obviously that was my time when I was growing up supporting them, so I was able to probably do that bit, But Dave helped me incredibly with the early stuff, and that George Utley, he's actually on the mural. It's Utley, isn't it, Dave?
It is, yeah. George Utley's on the
mural. There's an England badge actually on the mural with George Utley with his cap on the mural, so that's recognised. But there's so many things you could have put in there. In the end, worrying about running out of wall space because the club has so much history. There's lots of things that you could do, and then the next thing you could perhaps do as a piece of art on a wall at the club would be the victories in the FA Cup, because we've knocked out some big sides over the last 20, 30 years, haven't we? United, Liverpool, and Chelsea. That season when we actually went on that cup run 10 years ago, or 11, was it 12 years ago now? When you knock out Chelsea, you expect to win it, don't you?
You do, without a doubt. You knock Liverpool and Chelsea out of any competition. But Juventus or Inter Milan or Barnsley, you should win that competition, shouldn't you?
I think so. I was gutted when we lost to Cardiff that day. That was just one of the worst days. I think that was up there with Ipswich. I think Ipswich was the worst when we lost in the playoff final to Ipswich. But yeah, I think the FA Cup against Cardiff was, because you just don't know when you're going to get that close again.
No. I mean, David, you look at our big games, Barnsley, big game Barnsley, look at finals, particularly playoff finals. We've got quite a good record in terms of other teams.
We certainly have, yeah. And, I think, certainly when we went into that Millwall game, I don't think you'd find a Barnsley fan, even the most pessimistic Barnsley fan, who would say, oh, I don't fancy us today. We all knew we were going to do it. And Millwall knew we were going to do it. That was the worst thing about it. It was just a gimme, wasn't it? It was just to turn up, play as well as you can, and you ain't going to lose this. Yeah.
Pete, we looked dominant that day. I watched it back like 2 days ago. I can't believe how dominant we were. I think because at the time when you're there, you're under a bit of stress, you're worried. It's always going to go against you. But having watched it back, we annihilated them. We had all the ball.
Well, I had to watch it at a wedding because I was best man for one of my friends. So I had an iPad on during all the speeches and that while everyone was doing theirs, and Isgrove scored during the father of the bride's speech. So I just jumped up and then just went, and then obviously you got an entire wedding looking at you going like that, and you just go like, Isgrove header front post, and then just sat back down. But no point was I worried. I was watching it and able to enjoy the wedding. I was that confident.
Yeah.
As soon as that second one went in, I was just like, sounds, keep it there, keep an eye on it. Still enjoy my mate's wedding and all that. I turned up, so
Well, I enjoy playoff finals, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you're actually there, because you're so nervous, like when you watch it and you're at the game, it's not. When Millwall pulled it back to 2-1, I was like, they had one chance, didn't they? That lad up front, the silver hair that used to play as the target man,
Morrison.
Yeah, he got in, didn't he? And he could have scored to make it 2-2. But after that, once Isgrove scored, that was it, wasn't
it? Yeah. David, thanks for coming on. When do you think you and Ben will be collaborating next? Think maybe when they reinvent the West Stand, you might get a run at that with a bit of luck.
Well, I don't know if you know, but I found out something about the West Stand. There's a very famous football architect called Archibald Leach, and in the sort of 20s and 30s, he designed something like 30 different football grounds. Particularly like Everton and Portsmouth. They were all very distinctive because they had the cross members holding the stand. And the West Stand, it resembles Archibald Leach's work, but it's not quite there. So, and there was never any record of Archibald Leach having anything to do with Oakwell. So they were saying it was a knockoff copy. But anyway, I found a report in the Sheffield papers of a reporter turning up at Oakwell, and Archibald Leach was there. And he said to him, "What are you doing here?" He says, "Oh," this was straight after they'd won the cup. And he says, "Oh, well, the club have given me £2,500, and I'm going to knock this stand down. I'm going to build this stand here. I'm moving the pitch. I'm digging the terrace in here." And he gave an exact description of where we are now with the West Stand. So it's an Archibald Leach stand, and it should have a blue plaque on it.
Right.
Yeah.
So if it were to be redesigned, then you'd like to think that keep it to a certain...
certain features. I mean, Aston Villa is a Leach ground, and they kept the red brick outside of it. Their main entrance is almost out the way that Leach built it. And Glasgow Rangers as well, that's a Leach ground, and they've done much the same. So I think any sort of improvement on the West Stand has got to keep some of the features of the West Stand in it. Obviously, nobody wants those bucket seats, but those bucket seats are quite a feature as well. There's a thing called a Bennett seat, and they were made by. Yeah, exactly, and they're unique to football, and they're almost unique in the football world to Barnsley because they're the only ones that still exist.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Every day's a school day. It's
good
to have Dave on.
Learning so much, mate. And I love the West Stand as well. I think those seats are more comfortable than the plastic ones. Controversial. I genuinely prefer them.
I think they have buttocks well welded into them, or should I say smoothed into them. You know, there's no. They may have been flat at one stage, but they've definitely got the features.
It's always nice seeing from the West Stand because you get to see the ground, don't you, at its best from that angle, because you see the three big stands. So, you know, it's a good view from the West Stand.
Yeah. I will sit anywhere, Ben, as long as I'm sat in out well. I couldn't care less.
Oh, well, that's yeah.
Spot on. I think that pretty much wraps up the show. Pete, thanks for joining us. Nice to see you. Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, it's been fun, man. Learning everything, learning something new.
Good.
And Pete, tell us what football shirt you're wearing.
Boa Vista.
And it's got a nice badge on the front, I'm looking at.
BFs, yeah, there it is.
To the side. Yeah.
There it is, lovely stuff.
Brilliant.
I'll not get me tattoo out.
Thanks for coming back, Ben.
Oh, thanks for having me, lads. It's been good.
Come on again sometime.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Anytime you want me to come on, lads, I'd love to come back.
Good, man. Mr. David Wood, what a pleasure, real pleasure.
Yeah, no, it's been pretty cool. And if you want a specific subject, let me know and we'll come on and talk about it. I don't know if you saw what I put on Twitter just before we come on.
Right, I'll have a look.
Yeah. It's we're talking Halifax Town, and I recall a death at the Halifax Town manager prior to a Barnsley game. So I've just found it, and it was some guy in Barnsley had said he was going to be attacked with a cyanide dart prior to the game.
Wow.
Have a look at Twitter. It's the Daily Mirror's there from 1969. Hooliganism at its worst.
I think that's a good note to end on.
It certainly is, yeah.
This has been the Reds Report. Hopefully you'll enjoy the show, and we'll be back very soon. Thank you.
Take care.